At a time of massive and unprecedented income and wealth inequality, the Republicans look around them and they say, wow, we got 3 people owning more wealth than the bottom half of American society. Very richest people are becoming phenomenally richer. Working people are struggling. What's the solution? Well, obviously the solution is to give massive tax breaks to the rich and make a very bad situation even worse.
Total economic annihilation. On live television, Senator Bernie Moreno just dragged the left's tax and spend narrative right into the furnace, exposing the jaw-dropping hypocrisy of subsidizing luxury cars for millionaires while lecturing everyday families. Cut the corporate polish, let us roll the tape and watch.
It is apparently not good enough that the top 1% today own more wealth than the bottom 90%. That is rather phenomenal. But in my Republican colleagues' eyes, the wealthy and the powerful need even more help. 1% owning more wealth than the bottom 90%, just not good enough. We could do better than that. So not only should the very wealthy be asked to pay their fair share of taxes, the Republicans believe that we should give huge tax breaks to millionaires and billionaires.
I think we need to kind of go back in time for just a little bit, not quite as much as in Back to the Future. Let's just go back to 2020. There was an election in 2020. The Democrats gained control of the Senate and the White House. And what's been the result? During the 4 years of President Trump, his first term, it was never better for working class Americans. Real wage growth grew. The middle class was doing better. Our economy was doing fantastic. The Republicans had passed the TCJA, which gave tax relief to all Americans. And we received, and this is very important, the federal government received a record amount of revenue. So even though there was tax cuts for the wealthy was the headline. By the way, that line is as old as dirt. And it's totally false. While the tax rates were cut, tax revenue was at a record level. It would be fascinating if there was just one Democrat that acknowledged that we received a record amount of revenue in the federal coffers. Do you think to yourself, well, wait a second, like I'm a business guy, like if my revenue was at an all-time high and I was losing money, I'd say we have a huge expense problem. Like, oh my God, how could I get record revenue and yet have record deficits? Why? Because when you give Democrats control of our budget, what happens? I'll give you some examples. When my colleagues talk about how they defend the working class, I think the working class spoke pretty clearly on November 5th of 2024 and said, thank you, but no thank you. So what can happen in my old world of owning car dealerships? Mr. Chairman, you could walk into one of my dealerships, be a multi-millionaire, pick out a beautiful custom-made Rolls-Royce Spectre where the audio system upgrade is $21,000. The logoed headrest in the back seat are $1,500. The umbrella with a logo could be 10 grand. You can lease that car. And thanks to the amazing and remarkable policies from the Democrat Party, the federal government will give you a check for $7,500. Think about that for just a second. That is a bill that became law called the Inflation Reduction Act, giving Rolls-Royce lease customers $7,500 lowers inflation, and every one of them voted for that bill. How did that bill become law, you ask? Did it get 60 votes? Rigorous debate? No. They did it through reconciliation. And Kamala Harris broke the tie-breaking vote so that multi-millionaires could have their 5th vehicle parked in Palm Beach with a check for $7,500 thanks to the U.S. taxpayer.
You just witnessed a masterclass in dismantling political talking points with hard facts when Sanders dragged out the same finger-wagging speech he's been giving for 40 years about the top 1%. Moreno flipped the script. He reminded everyone that during President Trump's first term the middle class thrived, real wages grew, and most importantly the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act actually brought in record federal revenue when revenue is at an all-time high and deficits are still exploding. It's not a taxation problem, it's a spending problem. The knockout punch came straight from Moreno's background as a car dealer. He exposed the sheer insanity of the Inflation Reduction Act. A millionaire can waltz and lease a custom Rolls-Royce Spectre with a $21,000 audio system and a $10,000 umbrella, and thanks to a tie-breaking vote cast by Kla Harris, the U.S. taxpayer hands them a $7,500 check subsidizing luxury electric vehicles for the ultra-wealthy while pretending to champion the working classes. The ultimate progressive double standard. The exchange completely laid bare why the American working class spoke loud and clear on November 5th, saying thanks but no thanks to unchecked government spending when millionaires are getting handouts for exotic cars. Lectures on fair share ring completely hollow if you're tired of the political class shielding their own spending while picking your pocket. Smash that subscribe button right now. We're here to keep the swamp accountable. Senator Bernie Moreno walked into that hearing and totally shredded the left's economic narrative piece by piece. What did you think of his brutal Rolls-Royce expose? Let me know in the comments below. Hit that like button and I'll see you